So, let's start with the third and final part of the lecture series. Immediately after lunch, you now have to fight the coma. Yes, yes, but one or two others may still come. But it's always like this, exhibition and lectures. It varies a bit. So, we had a misunderstanding earlier, which is why we are now bringing the lecture by Dr. Staus and Mr. Janssen forward again. First of all, the 10 minutes, and that is the filling line and person and damage in view, turn optimized and CO2 reduced. Mr. Stausberg, you have the floor. Yes, thank you very much.
Perhaps to start with, is anyone here already measuring fill levels? Okay, not that much yet. That's also our impression, and it's not very popular yet. So in the next 10 minutes, we want to talk about filling levels, how this is done in Norway, but beyond that, what can we actually do with these fillings, reduce CO2, and meet the challenges in the scene? I was in Berlin last week in front of the Brandenburg Gate.
Garbage can was full.
And then there's diesel, and then there's the CO2 issue, and last but not least, impoverishment. So we want to take countermeasures, and you can only take countermeasures with data. And the picture, you'll get all these slides afterwards. You don't need to see everything in detail now. But the important thing is that we have to worry about costs. We have to worry about quantities. And in our case, fill levels are the fill levels of sensors. And then we have to do something with them. And Raoul Janssen, who represents the Norwegian company NAMDAL and can explain to us what it looks like in Norway, will now say something about the fill levels of sensors.
At least I'll try. Maybe just briefly about NAMDAL. NAMDAL is the largest Norwegian distributor. We supply cheaper containers, Mr. Fill, compactors, large compactors, and so on and so forth. And we have about 10,000 underfloor systems in cities like Stavanger and Bergen, and all equipped with access control systems and level sensors. That's since the years of the Millennium 1, so that's quite a lot. It all sounds great, but in 20 years it's just stress, because we have had suppliers from Holland, the Netherlands, we have supplier money from Austria, Germany, France, and we have always had problems with the level sensors, with the access control systems, e.g. water problems. Norway is one of the wettest countries. Bergen, the city of Bergen, is extremely wet. Okay. Another problem, high temperatures. Norway, there are really temperatures of minus, and that's different when you write on paper. Our system works between minus 30 and 70 degrees. Yes, everything always works for me on paper. But when it's installed in Norway, it doesn't work, or you get strange readings. And the board of us, the restoration board, that has, in the year of our board of directors in Norway, we don't need the Dutch. I'm Dutch now. We can do it too. We have clever people and so on. So we developed a new system, our own access control system, our own level sensor. And we said from the outset that it had to be small, not some huge thing that has to be screwed in somewhere where you need two people. Heavy, no, simple. Whatever we do, we use a field sensor, which means, as you can see here, if you have a bag in the middle, you can see the yellow area in the middle. The distance from the sensor to the back is about 1,060 millimeters. And to the ground, it's 1.50 meters, so 5.5 millimeters. So we're actually doing a kind of 3D scan. That's not quite correct. To put it that way, my Norwegian colleague would murder me now, but it fits. That was very important for us. Whatever we did, the warmer really works at minus 30. The company we work with is Norway. Norway specializes in the Navy and in transport. More details at our stand. But what I wanted to tell you earlier, Norwegians have something else. Every Norwegian has a cabin, a vacation home by the sea and in the mountains. In winter, we go to the mountains. In summer, we enjoy the sea. What do we do with our level sensor now? The sensor measures, when I say 70% full, of course, you have to dispose of it next Monday. We have a connection with the weather service. So we get the weather forecast for the weekend. And the moment we see that the weather is going to be great at the weekend, lots of people go there. A lot of people go there. Then Monday probably won't be enough. And then we have to dispose of it earlier. And that, I think, is where it can be said to be a bit special in Norway. I don't know how far the colleagues from Soliton know, but that's why I'm very curious to hear Jonas talk about it. Not about Norway, because that...
Exactly. So if you now we can see the most beautiful picture in one of which, if you are now so busy, you know the filling level, now you want to optimize. What is always important for an optimization is the capacity of the truck, costs, material costs and personnel costs, and the quantity, and then you optimize according to kilometers, and that is a picture that you may have to bring in. There are different accounting systems in the company, and each one knows little about the other, and integrating this and creating key figures from it is what we do automatically, that we say we make an hourly rate, we have a kilometer rate, and this then goes into the optimization. And the optimization works according to time windows, according to kilometers, according to capacities, and then in many cases results in 10% less kilometers, 10% less personnel and material costs. And here, for example, you can see costs per unit from 2 centan. So this is something that you can already experience in the run-up to a tour, and then you transfer the tour to the truck. So we now have the whole ecosystem. ZapDog stands for this. Hardware, software, service, everything together. We take care of the installation of devices as well as the training of drivers, i.e. transmissions to the truck, while also keeping an eye on safety. That's why I just said that we have 2 or 3 other additional topics. For the first time here at the trade fair, we have a camera with an AI function which automatically detects when someone is standing behind the vehicle or to the right and alerts the driver, and also data recording. We can record up to 4 cameras to the room door in order to document, for example, damage caused by the car where there are subsequent collisions. Last slide. We also have another area here, namely our containers, which we can equip with sensors and then track. Cost per customer, so that's the message. By optimizing, by being able to determine the costs here, we can also determine them per floor. And we have been doing this with the help of telematics for over 20 years. We are specialists. The message is actually to move away from flat rate route costing towards unloading-oriented cost accounting or load-oriented cost accounting. And if you introduce something like this, you can save a lot of money and simply have an overview of everything that is happening. You can take a look at it. We have such campaigns, now WF's Ruhr campaigns, where you can test something like this again. And if you have a cell phone with a QR code reader, then scan this QR code, because it will give you this PDF, a document that we have now created especially for WFZ Ruhr. It contains all the data that I explained to you here in the presentation. And if you are interested, just come to our stand. There is a new podcast. The money is on the street. You can access it at sublog.podbean. I put it on LinkedIn, and after a very short time, it received over 1,700 requests. So one topic, 15 or 17 minutes. Listen to the podcast at sublog.podbean or on Spotify, Sublog Academy, and then you can hear more. Thank you very much. I hope it was just enough. Thank you very much.